You can do this for free. You don't need to buy anything from me or click on any links or do any of that stuff to absolutely reverse your type 2 diabetes and keep it reversed for the rest of your life. You don't need to buy any products whatsoever. You don't need any prescription medications, either pills or insulin injections, to reverse your type 2 diabetes. I'm in the process of renaming this condition, and we're going to start calling it chronic carbohydrate overdose syndrome. When you call it that, it takes away the mystery. Oh, I have type 2 diabetes. I don't know why. It must be genetic, maybe. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I was born on the wrong day of the week. No, it's none of that. You have type 2 diabetes because of chronic carbohydrate overdose syndrome. Having type 2 diabetes is not your fault, but it absolutely is your problem. And so you need to pay careful attention to these 5 easy steps. Maybe write them down. Step number 1 is you need to stop all sugars, whether added sugars or naturally occurring sugars. And so obviously anything that has added sugar, either that you added or that the big food manufacturer added the sugar to, you need to stop eating those things. They're not really food. They're products that are made in a factory that you're then convinced that are food, and they're gonna spike your blood sugar, which is gonna raise your insulin, and you will never, ever reverse your type 2 diabetes eating these things. Number 2 is you've got to stop eating all grains. Now, the most common culprits are wheat, corn, oats, and rice. These are the big guys, but really any grain is going to be too high in carbohydrates. Now, you obviously, as a type 2 diabetic, you know that if you eat sugar, your blood sugar goes up, and then your pancreas has to deal with that. But what you may not know, what many people don't know, is that any grain, rice, oats, wheat, corn, amaranth, millet, quinoa, any of these, they convert immediately into sugar. Even before you swallow them, the amylase, which is an enzyme in your mouth, starts to break down the starches into sugar in your mouth before you even swallow them. Step 3 is to remove all vegetable oils from your diet. Canola oil, soybean oil, sunflower, safflower, peanut oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil. All of these guys are inflammatory in nature. They have a very high omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, but they also oxidize very rapidly when you cook with them and also in your body. And many authorities, many experts believe that they also contribute to the pathophysiology that ultimately leaves you with type 2 diabetes. Step 4 is to include lots of fatty meat in your diet. Fat and protein don't raise your blood sugar any meaningful degree. They also don't raise your insulin level to any meaningful degree. So you can get away with eating lots of fatty meat, which is fat and protein, plus tons of vitamins and minerals, because meat is full of those. Step 5 is to get any carbohydrates you do eat from above ground, non-starchy vegetables, okay? Some people can reverse their type 2 diabetes by eating 100 total grams or less each day. Some people have to tighten this up more and eat only 50 total grams of carbohydrates each day. Some people like me have to eat 20 total grams a day or even less to reverse and keep their type 2 diabetes reversed. Let me tell you about the lab tests that you need to ask your doctor for so that you can monitor how well you're doing on the journey of reversing your type 2 diabetes. You want a fasting glucose for sure. You also want a hemoglobin A1C. That's going to give you a 3-month average of what your blood sugar's been doing. Many doctors stop right there, and they don't realize that having chronically high insulin levels is just as bad and just as unhealthy and just as pathological as having a chronically high blood sugar level. So you're also going to get a C-peptide and a fasting insulin check. And these are going to tell you if you're eating low carb enough to completely reverse your type 2 diabetes and to keep it in remission or to keep it reversed or to keep it cured. However you want to say it, I think that if you reverse your type 2 diabetes, you've earned the right to call it whatever you want to call it. Using these 5 easy steps, many people can reverse their type 2 diabetes in a month or 2 months. Some people who have been type 2 diabetic for longer or who have a harder time giving up all the carbohydrates might take 2 to 6 months to completely reverse their type 2 diabetes. But when you understand that type 2 diabetes is actually just chronic carbohydrate overdose syndrome, you'll understand. And so if your A1C gets better as you cut the carbohydrates, but it doesn't go all the way back to normal, my goal for you is for you to have a hemoglobin A1C of 5.6 or less. I want you to have a normal A1C and a normal C-peptide. That is the sweet spot where you're truly healthy, and the possibility of having a long health span and a long lifespan are within your grasp. I have hundreds of videos on this YouTube channel that will help you reverse your type 2 diabetes. If you love veggies and you want to include some in your diet, then check out my Keto 101 playlist. If you would just be happy eating meat and eggs and cheese and nothing else, then check out my Carnivore 101 playlist. If you eat low carbohydrate enough on either one of these, you're going to reverse your type 2 diabetes.